The Bodleian Libraries is the largest university library system in the UK. As well as the central university site, there are 27 other Bodleian library sites across Oxford, including major research and faculty department libraries. With over 2 million reader visits each year, the Bodleian provides vital resources to support teaching, learning and research at the university. But in 2015, the Bodleian opened a brand new facility in the heart of Oxford called the Western Library, which began a new era for libraries at Oxford.
Western Library was particularly important in our recent history because it enabled us both to dramatically improve the preservation of our special collections, most importantly because it enabled us to open our doors to the public in ways that just hadn't been possible before. It made us a library of the city, but also for everyone.
The opening of the Western Library to the public was enabled by an £80 million refurbishment project to turn a library, previously known as the New Bodleian, into this brand new public space and research facility. A huge off-site storage facility was also built in Swindon, with room to house 13 million items across 153 miles of shelving space.
The creation of the book storage facility enabled us to rationalise all of our storage in one place in state-of-the-art facilities, and it enabled us to empty what was the New Bodleian building and create the Western Library.
At the centre of the library is Blackwell Hall, a modern and open atrium space.
The ground floor was designed to be a place that the public could enter freely, and we'd never had that before. They could see the collections, they could see staff and readers moving about in the upper levels, but they could also at the same time enjoy the kind of buzz of the ground floor.
The opening of Blackwell Hall also created a new space for public events.
The public events that we run have got content that ranges from music, theatre, art, pop-up talks, dancing, spectacular light shows. You name it, we're up for doing it.
Just off Blackwell Hall, the library has 2 dedicated exhibition spaces, which attract over 300,000 visitors each year.
We tried to get a range of topics, Tolkien, Shakespeare, C.S. Lewis, but also less known people. We are doing, at the moment, an exhibition on the woman photographer Helen Muspratt. A lot of what we are trying to do is about expanding our audience base. People who maybe before would have thought, oh no, that's an academic library, there's nothing there for me. So it's about changing that idea and saying, no, this library is actually for everyone.
The public engagement team are also finding innovative new ways to bring local communities into the library. They recently ran a groundbreaking project to co-create an exhibition with members of the Ethiopian and Eritrean community from Oxford, London and Milton Keynes.
It was basically to raise awareness about ancient and medieval manuscripts from Ethiopia and Eritrea. Some of the activities that we did was run some workshops, study days, special events. The project was pretty special because it was one of the first time that we co-curated with community members a display.
I'm originally from Eritrea. To be able to tell the community to say, well, you know, Oxford has a collection and would you like to come and see or get involved? I think it's a great initiative.
We've decided that in the future, this type of model is going to be adopted for further engagement with other community groups.
The Bodleian also runs community projects with local schools. Each year, hundreds of young people are offered the chance to visit the Western Library.
One of the aims of the project is to reach out to Oxfordshire state schools. We realise that there are many barriers to higher education and particularly to elite universities like Oxford University. And it is really our responsibility to try and break down those barriers.
I've been working at Cheney School for 14 years. We have a really diverse range of students from lots of demographics, including some quite disadvantaged backgrounds. And those students being able to come into somewhere like the Western Library to feel comfortable in this kind of environment is really important for helping them realise that places like Oxford University are just as much for them as for anyone else.
I'm 17 and I came to visit 6 months ago. Living in Oxford, you don't really get to interact that much with the universities, but then when you come here you get to see what actually goes on. My French school, I want to be a doctor, so I'm planning to apply to medicine next year.
As well as working with local schools, the library is developing its links with organisations from Oxford. The Special Collections team recently acquired the archive from Oxfam, a charity which was started in Oxford in the 1940s.
The Oxfam project was probably one of the biggest projects that we've ever done in terms of archives cataloguing. We started out with 10,000 boxes worth of material, huge photographic archive, wonderful posters and communications and campaigns materials. One of the most amazing things that we have in the Oxfam archive is the first ever minute book that records the first meeting of what was then the Oxford Committee for Famine Relief back in 1942. And it's amazing to think that a small meeting like that in the University Church in Oxford could turn into the Oxfam organisation that we know today.
The Bodleian is also expanding its archives from Britain's modern fiction writers. Award-winning author Joanna Trollope has sold millions of books worldwide. She recently donated her archive to the Bodleian, including all of her handwritten first drafts.
It was a wonderful opportunity to be able to donate my archive to the Bodleian Library. I have a very strong association with Oxford. I'd been here as an undergraduate and I was interested in it being of use to people who wanted to write fiction in the future.
Joanna Trollope is one of the most influential writers, one of the most popular writers living. To have the drafts of her work, to have her correspondence, to have the ideas that formed her literary masterpieces is of great value to us, not only for our students, but be able to share with the whole world.
Continuing research also reshapes the Bodleian's knowledge of collections that are centuries old, as well as providing reading rooms for researchers to access manuscripts. Each year, the Bodleian invites a number of specialists from around the world to study the library's collections as part of the Visiting Scholars programme.
I came to the Bodleian Library on a scholarship to study a Persian manuscript that tells us about how non-Arabs contributed to the making of Islam. The Bodleian has one of the biggest and most important collections of Persian and Arabic manuscripts in the world. So many manuscripts haven't been looked at by anybody. Thanks to this scholarship program, people are looking at these.
The Visiting Scholars programme and the community projects at Western Library are some of the many programmes that have been made possible thanks to the Bodleian's generous supporters. The library is in a unique position to make a wider impact on public life.
One of the extraordinary things about the Bodleian today is that in a single institution, we support leading medical science through our 4 hospital libraries, right through to the disciplines of the humanities, the social sciences and the sciences, and our students who go on to such important roles in public life across the globe. But we're able to support the learning and educational needs of the whole world. And that's an extraordinary place to be, where a library is able to reach across the planet and to change people's lives.